KPIX 5 News begins with a mass shooting in Las Vegas. A gunman in a high-rise hotel unleashes a hail of gunfire on fans at a country music concert. New accounts from Bay Area survivors and first responders caught up in the chaos.
We're learning more about the man behind the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Headliner Jason Aldean ran from the stage after the first series of gunshots. Here's what we know right now. 59 people were killed, at least 527 injured. Police found 17 guns in the suspect's hotel room and another cache of weapons and ammo at his home. The Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival was taking place in a lot across the street from Mandalay Bay. Police say the gunman fired from the 32nd floor, which is about 950 feet away from the venue.
KPIX 5's Juliette Goodrich is live in Las Vegas near the scene. Juliette?
Ken, we're really in the center of the strip here, and you can see the police presence directly behind me. They've been blocking part of the strip, the Las Vegas Strip, as you enter to the Mandalay Bay. But on the other side, I want to show you another view of the Mandalay Bay. And as we zoom in, you can actually see the shattered glass. Police say the gunman fired from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay. The gunman carried out this mass shooting, checked into the hotel last Thursday, reportedly bringing in 17 assault rifles. And as you said, this location about 950 feet from the venue. What was supposed to be a night of fun turned into a night of terror for so many. Country music star Jason Aldean was performing last night when gunshots rang out.
Sit down, stay down.
There's people laying everywhere. People were bleeding.
We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the warehouse.
Many in the estimated crowd of 22,000 thought it was fireworks until victims started falling.
I saw people in front of me get hit with bullets, and my first thing was just to hop on my friends and make sure everyone was okay.
Police say 64-year-old Stephen Paddock killed himself inside this two-story suite at Mandalay Bay. He used some kind of hammer to knock out the glass and opened fire from two windows. At the open-air concert venue, there were few places to take cover.
People started laying down to the ground and kind of screaming, and people started running, rushing out, and we started to get up to go, and people are climbing over us to try to get out.
A very different feel here in Las Vegas this evening. So many people shell-shocked and walking around just trying to make sense of it all, if you even can make sense of it. We ran into one woman from Brentwood leaving the airport to head home today to the Bay Area. She told us about her harrowing experience last night at the concert.
Single shots, like pop, pop.
Tony Kessler of Brentwood was in the middle of the chaos and barrage of gunfire.
People are screaming, I've been shot. People are being drug out. My girlfriends ended up in a vehicle that took them to the airport, and they were running past. She said she ran past a girl laying on the ground in a pile of blood, all by herself.
You ready to get home?
Mm-hmm.
When the reality set in, she wasn't hearing fireworks. She and her other friends ran for cover, but they all got separated from one another.
It was just chaos. People literally shot around me, being drug out of the concert. We all got separated. My friends went one way, I went the other. We were climbing fences. People, shoes, purses laying on the ground, people bloody. It was awful.
And now security stepped up more than ever along the Las Vegas Strip and even from hotel to hotel. We've been asked if there's heightened security here in Las Vegas, and we can tell you yes. And here's an example. Normally this case that holds this tripod is usually checked over at the airport. This is the first time that U.S. Marshals have actually knocked at our hotel door asking to look inside this case to see what my photographer was carrying. He had a tripod and some lights, and once they checked it out, we were in the clear. As people walk along the strip, this huge electronic billboard outside the MGM says it all. Messages about blood donations, prayers to victims, and gratitude to the first responders, and a phone number to call about those still missing. Investigators are still trying to figure out who is Stephen Paddock and why would he carry out something like this and determine a motive. That's still one of the major questions. They found no signs of ties to any radical terror group. Now, we know that the killer had no criminal record. The 64-year-old was a multimillionaire real estate investor and a former accountant. He was living out his retirement as a high-stakes gambler who liked to play video poker on cruises. But his brother Eric in Florida said there were no signs of financial troubles. He told reporters he was dumbfounded.
I mean, he called his mom up and he sent her a walker and his girlfriend sent her cookies. And this is like, what? I mean, this is asteroid fell out of the sky. There's just nothing.
Police served a search warrant on Paddock's home this morning in Mesquite, Nevada, which is about 80 miles northeast of Vegas. Their search uncovered an additional 18 firearms, explosives, and several thousand rounds of ammunition. Authorities say a SWAT team is about to breach another house that belongs to Paddock in northern Nevada. If we come back out here live, I want to just show you this flag flying at half-staff, the moon coming out, very still here in Las Vegas. Police still securing the streets as you try to drive down the strip along Mandalay Bay. It is a crime scene here. The investigation continues, and coming up at 6:45, I'm going to tell you what the people in Las Vegas are doing to help out, and also the support that you can do at home if you'd like to help. That's the latest here from Las Vegas. Ken, back to you.
All right, thanks, Juliette, and we'll check back with you in just a bit. Well, let's get you back to Las Vegas right now. KPIX 5's Juliette Goodrich on an outpouring of support for the victims tonight. Juliette?
Ken, we've seen that almost immediately with blood drives and people asking how can they help. And tonight, there are several prayer services as well. A memorial service started about 5 tonight at the Guardian Angel Cathedral, and at Las Vegas City Hall, the city is holding a candlelight vigil. People sang and played guitar. Some held signs that say Vegas Strong. The mayor of Las Vegas put out a special call for blood. Hundreds of residents and visitors are rushing in to help. People are waiting between 6 to 8 hours in line. Most of these people are being given appointments to come back over the next few days. Also, the Oakland Raiders, who are moving to Las Vegas within the next few years, have donated $50,000 to victims. The Raiders said the heart of the Raider Nation goes out to Las Vegas. If we come back out here live to the strip along Las Vegas, you can see the signs here, the billboards, blood donations needed, contact American Red Cross. Also signs saying our prayers for the victims, and also phone numbers if you need to reach someone that you're not able to find yet. A lot of that going on tonight, and this is still an active crime scene down by the Mandalay Bay. The motive still unknown, Ken. From Las Vegas, I'm Juliette Goodrich. Back to you.
Juliette, thank you very much.
Now at 11, the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Tonight, the victims, the gunman, and the search for a motive. And good evening. I'm Juliette Goodrich, live in Las Vegas. This shooting happening nearly 24 hours ago from a window from the Mandalay Bay. And tonight, we're learning so much more. At least 59 people were killed, 527 others injured when a gunman opened fire at a country music festival. The shooter has been identified as 64-year-old Stephen Paddock. Officers recovered 23 firearms from his hotel room and 19 at his home in Mesquite, Nevada. Now let's give you a better idea of how this all unfolded. Thousands of people were at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival across the street from the Mandalay Bay. Authorities say Paddock opened fire from his hotel room about 950 feet away from the concert. The bullets rained down from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Resort onto a crowd of about 22,000 concertgoers as country music star Jason Aldean took the stage.
So there's a shooting!
At first, many in the crowd mistook the gunshots for fireworks.
We were really confused because we couldn't see any of the smoke.
The shooter, identified as 64-year-old Stephen Paddock, paused several times, once for nearly a minute, presumably to reload.
We're seeing local flashes in the middle of Mandalay Bay on the north side. like one of the middle floors.
Be advised, it is automatic fire. Fully automatic fire from an elevated position. Take cover.
As police made their way toward the source of the gunfire, hundreds of rounds slammed into buildings and people.
We can't worry about victims. We need to stop the shooter before we have more victims. Anybody have eyes on this shooter?
Once they gained entry into the hotel, in conjunction with security and through phone calls from patrons, they were able to call it down to a possible floor.
We believe it's the northernmost room on either side on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay.
I need to know if we have that floor evacuated other than our suspects. We got snipers going up.
We have the hallway contained.
The gunman fired at officers through the doorway of his hotel room. By the time the SWAT team stormed in, Paddock had already killed himself. Tonight, outside Vegas City Hall, residents and politicians lit candles and held signs reading "Vegas Strong."
We will not be tarnished by this one sick, horrible human being that he thought he could destroy who and what we are. That will never happen.
And tonight, Las Vegas hospitals and trauma centers still dealing with the critically injured, and there are many of them. And for those who made it out alive and uninjured, tonight I can tell you they are still dealing with the emotional trauma of it all. A somber Las Vegas this evening, as many people who came here to have fun leave shell-shocked and return home.
Yeah, we took off running and, hit the ground, and when we thought it was safe to get up, we ran to an exit. So.
We just looked for each other and made sure that all 5 of us got out. It's just unimaginable. It's nothing what you don't go to things like this thinking that something this terrible is going to happen, and it's just not fair.
And now security stepped up more than ever along the Las Vegas Strip and even from hotel to hotel. As people walk along the Strip, this huge electronic billboard outside the MGM says it all. Messages about blood donations, prayers to victims, and gratitude to the first responders, and a phone number to call about those still missing.
Single shots, like pop, pop.
Tony Kessler of Brentwood was in the middle of the chaos and barrage of gunfire.
People are screaming, "I've been shot." People are being drug out. My girlfriends ended up in a vehicle that took them to the airport. And she said she ran past a girl laying on the ground in a pile of her blood, all by herself.
You ready to get home?
Mm-hmm.
And some are not home. Tonight, a Bay Area woman is among the missing, Stacy Etcheber. She was at the festival with her husband, an off-duty San Francisco police officer. When shots rang out, he told her to run while he helped the victims. Stacy didn't have her phone or ID and hasn't been seen since. And tonight, we're learning the identities of some of the victims. 29-year-old Sonny Melton was a nurse from Tennessee. He died shielding his wife, Heather, a doctor and Sonoma County native. Rachel Parker was a 10-year veteran of the police department in Manhattan Beach. She was 33 years old. Jenny Parks, a mother of 2, was a kindergarten teacher from Los Angeles County. Her husband, Bobby, was injured. They were childhood sweethearts. Angie Gomez was a former cheerleader at Riverside Poly. She graduated 2 years ago. And Paige Gasper, a student at Sonoma State, was shot in the attack, but will survive.
I reached down and grabbed my side and noticed that my hand was all wet. And I was like, well, somebody spilled their drink on me or something. And next thing I knew that it was warm and red, and I saw it, coming down my leg.
Paige suffered a liver laceration and a fractured rib. She's recovering in the hospital tonight. Now, last night, about this time, authorities still did not know if they had one shooter or several active shooters. Many people were running in the streets here, running for cover, even hiding overnight in places just because they didn't know who they were dealing with. Well, tonight, we do know who we're dealing with. We're getting more information about the shooter, and for that, we're going to go to KPIX5 Sharon Chin in our newsroom to give us a little bit of insight about who he is.
Now at 11, in the midst of the massacre, police body cameras captured the chaos. Tonight, how the Vegas gunman used modified weapons and tiny cameras to carry out the attack. Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Cook.
And I'm Ken Bastida.
And I'm Juliette Goodrich, live in Las Vegas. Tonight, authorities are preparing to question the gunman's girlfriend. Just 2 hours ago, she flew into Los Angeles. Her name, Mary Lou Danley. Federal agents were there to meet the 62-year-old. She was in the Philippines at the time of the shooting. Authorities say she is a person of interest and she may have information on a possible motive. And tonight, we're also getting a closer look at the chaos that happened on Sunday night when the shooting rang out at the concert. We're getting a closer look from police officers' body camera. You get to see how they responded, what they did, and what they did to protect the concert goers.
Hey, you guys! Go that way! Get out of here! There's gunshots coming from over there! Go that way! Go that way! There's gunshots right here! I just hit my head. Hey, go that way, go that way, go that way. Hey, they're shooting right at us, guys. Everybody stay down. Stay down. Where's it at? North of the Mandalay Bay. It's coming out of a window.
Hey, get behind cover! Sight. Get back! Get back! Get back! I know you are. There's multiple people shot up there. I know. Get in there. Get in there.
And tonight we've learned that the ATF from San Francisco is in Las Vegas to help with the investigation. We're also getting a closer look at what Stephen Paddock's hotel room looked like. We have video to show you. And we're also getting a sense of just how much firepower he had in there. Inside the hotel suite, police found the gunman dead on the floor. Surrounding his body, 23 guns and rifles, including this assault weapon. In all, Sunday's rapid-fire shooting lasted 9 to 11 minutes. Tonight, law enforcement officials said the gunman used a device known as a bump stock that allows semi-automatic rifles to mimic fully automatic gunfire.
There were 12 bump fire stocks identified on the firearms in the hotel room.
Police say 64-year-old Stephen Paddock set up cameras inside and outside his hotel room, including one on a service cart.
There were 2 cameras located in the hallway so that the suspect could watch as law enforcement or security approached his room. And there was another camera placed inside the hotel room door peephole so that he could see down the hallway.
Investigators are trying to determine if the gunman initially had a different target. A source told CBS News Paddock tried to get a hotel room near the Life is Beautiful music festival a week earlier, but he could not get the specific suites he requested.
Something happened that drove him into the pit of hell.
Investigators say the gunman recently transferred more than $100,000 to a bank account in the Philippines. And again, Paddock's girlfriend is now here in the United States. She just flew into Los Angeles and she is being questioned by authorities. She is a person of interest. And Ken, tomorrow, President Trump is expected to be here at 9:30 in the morning, flying in on Air Force One. He will be meeting with survivors' family members, victims' family members, and also first responders. Back to you.
Yeah, Juliette, I can understand, everybody can understand that the city is probably still in a state of shock. Especially in light of the video that was released today, where you really get a feeling for the firepower that's coming out of that building. And I understand that some performers there in Vegas have even canceled their shows this week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a different Vegas, and it will be that way for some time. Jennifer Lopez has her concerts here, and she's chosen to not perform this week. J-Lo, out of respect to the family members, she even tweeted that she's heartbroken. Also, Jason Aldean is not going to be performing the next 3 concerts out of respect to the family members. And I can tell you that some of the restaurants are closed down. This doesn't feel like a 24-hour town right now, but it will change slowly but surely.
Yeah, it's a natural feeling from everybody there. Juliette Goodrich live in Las Vegas tonight. Thank you.
KPIX 5 News begins with the first words from the girlfriend of the Las Vegas gunman. She says she had no idea the man she loved was planning a massacre. The girlfriend of the Vegas shooter called him kind and caring.
But investigators say he was a dark and disturbed man who led a secret life. But this evening, the focus is on Mary Lou Danley. She flew into Los Angeles last night from the Philippines, accompanied by the FBI. Investigators say Danley is a person of interest in this case. Agents spent the day questioning her about Paddock's motives and his arsenal of weapons.
KPIX 5's Juliette Goodrich is live in Las Vegas with the latest on the gunman. Jules?
Well, Veronica and Ken, there was a news conference held in the last hour, so we've learned some new information. Investigators telling us they have more than 100 investigators on this case that have spent more than 72 hours combing through the life of Stephen Paddock.
Is someone I will call disturbed and dangerous. What we know is Stephen Paddock is a man who spent decades acquiring weapons and ammo and living a secret life, much of which will never be fully understood.
Authorities also have been interviewing Mary Lou Danley, his girlfriend, but at this point they tell us they are not about to release new information about their interview with her just yet.
I am a mother and a grandmother, and my heart breaks for all who have lost loved ones.
Danley was out of the country when Paddock carried out his rampage. She said he bought her a ticket to visit her family in the Philippines over 2 weeks ago. Danley said she had no warning what his plans were.
I knew Stephen Paddock as a kind, caring, quiet man. I loved him and hoped for a quiet future together with him. He never said anything to me or took any action that I was aware of that I understood in any way to be a warning that something horrible like this was going to happen.
While in the Philippines, Danley said Paddock wired her money that he explained was meant to help purchase a home for her family.
I was grateful, but honestly, I was worried that first, the unexpected trip home, and then the money was a way of breaking up with me.
Danley's sister told an Australian news station she was sent away.
She don't know anything as well like us. She was sent away. She was sent away so that she will be not there to interfere or put this planning.
Danley pledged to cooperate with authorities and voluntarily flew home to answer any questions.
There's almost 60 families who want answers to questions. I can guarantee you there's thousands of law enforcement officials getting those answers for them.
KPIX 5 security analyst and former FBI agent Jeff Harp says fortunately there are cameras everywhere in Vegas.
They'll look at his pattern of travel and they'll look at where he's booked hotel rooms, and they'll end up pulling that video from those hotels to make a determination if he had the same type of bags with him whenever he went to those venues and those hotels. There's a lot of people that have asked questions about why did he rent 2 rooms? How could he get 2 rooms during a period of time whenever there was such a popular event going on?
Today, FBI agents were visible through the smashed window of Paddock's hotel room at the Mandalay Bay Resort. Police found his body there, along with nearly 24 weapons and ammo. And we're along Las Vegas Boulevard, known as the Strip, and it was temporarily shut down along Mandalay Bay while investigators were looking inside the hotel for other clues and information. And we also went down there today, and there's still crime scene tape, and you can see still some of the activity going on. And across the street where the concert was, that's completely shut off. So we got a sense of kind of what the area looks like today, and then we also wanted to hear from people what they're thinking, what they're feeling. So take a listen.
I never thought that we would be labeled as that city.
Las Vegas, a town healing.
I'm just really numb, still in shock. Telling people Vegas is still here.
We love people.
This father and daughter brought their therapy dogs to comfort victims' families.
It's really disturbing. It's way different than seeing it on TV, so it's tough because this really did hurt these people. My dogs helped me too.
These Las Vegas residents left flowers by the iconic Las Vegas welcome sign.
My friend made a Facebook post the night after it happened. He lives in Orlando. And he commented, he said, "We've regrettably and sorrowfully passed the torch to Las Vegas." And I told him, I said, that's a torch that you guys could have kept.
And if there is any sign this town that never sleeps is starting to reawaken,
thank you very much.
Look no further. You're here to brighten their spirits and give them that little sense of Vegas.
You know what? We do it together. It's not just me for them, it's them for me as well. It's all of us.
And good for him. He's been at that welcome sign all day today, and I have to tell you, he's brought a lot of smiles. Veronica, you might be able to hear some of the music in the background, a lot of activity going on. Slowly but surely, this town is coming to life again.
All right, a little bit of good news there. All right, Juliette, we appreciate it. We'll check back with you in just a bit.